I'll save the argument for afterwards.
Okay. All right. So I'm here with Josh, and he's going to be the surrogate audience for this thing. So here's my design for the new stage. We talked about doing these horizontal pieces of wood that go across horizontally the length of the stage. And then in between are these pieces of steel, like raw steel. So this is the temperature of the wood, kind of a rougher wood thing, and then a raw steel that you can clamp or do things to. So this wood should be fairly unfinished so that you could, screw things into it or hammer on it and beat on it. It adds to the character of the wood. It doesn't make it look bad. Like a finished piece of wood like this would look bad if you screwed a hole into it and then pulled it back out. And then I was thinking about, so that helps us with versatility as far as attaching things to this, because in stage production, in the 10 years that I've been working on stages, it's really nice to have something you can just screw into and take it off and you're going, or something that you can clamp a thing onto and it's structurally sound. And then I thought, thinking about all the money that we spend filling up this, this is like 58 by 25. It's a lot of square footage to cover with something. So typically a stage turnover for something this size that looks nice would be around $4-5 grand of a thing. If you're doing that quarterly or 3 times a year, it can get a little expensive. So I thought, I was driving home one day and thought, how can we build something into this? So we got this background. How can we build something into it that helps us change the stage frequently and cheaply? And this idea hit me of like doing wood slats that sort of you can somehow attach to the wood or the steel or something like that and create, out of thousands of pieces of, having thousands of pieces of 1x4, 1x6, these could all be different lengths or sizes, or you can have the bulk of them be one size, and then you can literally move those pieces around to like be different designs on the stage. Like our what is this series called with the little book that was open? Gospel Fluency. Jinx. And there's all kinds of, I was experimenting with different lighter colors that you could make these smaller pieces out of. Merry Christmas, and hang some lights up. So this would be the bulk of what you do throughout the year, says Hebrews. In fact, you could cut, pieces of wood to where it rounds out a B a little better so it doesn't look so, camp candy counselor writing on these things. And all kinds of shapes you could do for this, like think about Rooted or Money Monster or all kinds of different things, Love Your Neighbor, or just some kind of design that goes with a series. And so producing all these little pieces that can be, again, taken off, you take it off of there and you move it around to somewhere else. And then I was thinking, do you create some kind of clamp on the back or some kind of thing? And that's where I came up with the idea of doing a magnetic system. So don't get hung up by how thick these silver pieces are here, but you could take the piece of wood off and then, magnetically stick it to something else. And this is a fairly accurate representation of the stage. It's not exact, but it's pretty much to scale. So you can see how we could create thousands of these, and we wouldn't use metal this shiny or this thick. That's out of proportion. But the wood would be about that color, and then the metal parts would be more of a raw or flatter gray or darker gray steel that these pieces of wood could stick to. And so here's a real life, in fact, Josh, come stand over here for a second, hold this up. So you could take this wood and you put magnets on the back of it that hold on pretty well. These are like $2 for 2 of them. So this whole piece costs about $5-6. And then it sticks. And this isn't the right steel again. This is just cheap stuff that we were doing a test with. So don't get hung up on the materials. This would be like the vertical or the horizontal wood would be like railroad tie style wood, all the way across that looks nice. And but fits our rougher, rawer, tenacious style. And then this steel here would be more of the grayer, probably half or quarter this size. And then this wood would be colored or stained the right thing, so that, think of a group of volunteers that could come up and change your design on your stage with a few hundred thousand, 1,000 or a few hundred of these pieces, and a lift or a ladder, and they're just resticking them to whatever design you made up on this thing. So these are like, it's meant to be designable. You can have infinite amount of designs to do on stage. You could even do like, what is it, dog tooth or whatever that is, that flooring kind of style. And yeah, it's very easy to use, practical, versatile in a way that even if you took all of these pieces off, which you would do from time to time, the stage would still look, good with its horizontal. And you're going to have screens here, probably a little bit bigger than this, maybe like that. So you can see how much of it you'd have to design each time. But again, it makes the design less expensive over a long period of time, so that you can change this more frequently and get a lot of different looks out of it. And even if you get tired of this and you're like, what, I want all this to go away, and you need to hang like a banner on it, well, boom, you still got your nice wood backdrop. Or if you want to hang a screen on it, or different, again, these pieces of wood could be different shapes and sizes. We could get a longer piece that goes, 8 foot or something like that, to build different looks out of, and you can get more powerful magnets that are fairly cheap. And that's kind of the pitch for the new stage idea. And so again, this is more of like what Plain Joe and I talked about without the removable pieces. We initially talked about doing a stage design like this, where it's wood, steel, wood, steel, wood, steel, and this is how it would look without anything on it. And then, with something on it. So this is meant to be a long-term solution. So what happens after 20 years if you just can't stand it anymore and you want to do something? Well, you just sheetrock over the wood and the steel or whatever, and you do whatever else you need to do. So this is meant to be a 10, 15-year solution, with the horizontal wood and the horizontal steel covered up by the pieces of wood. Or you can, mount banners into it, or screens, or whatever you need to mount onto the wall. Now it's easily mountable with a screw gun and screws. You don't need extra hardware. Or if you have things that clamp like lights, it can easily clamp onto the steel. Or you can have different sizes, or things that are magnetic, or different things that can sort of go on the wall. So again, don't be thrown off by the shininess of this particular model and the wood. But yeah, versatility, long-term creativity, buzzwords.